Welcome to the Ghostbusters recap. The trio Dr. Peter Venkman, Dr. Ray Stans, and Dr. Egon Spengler all have PhDs in parapsychology. They run a group where they help members of society clear ghosts and unwanted spirits, helping old librarians with ghosts haunting the library. Venkman conducts studies and uses these opportunities to try and meet women, but they are interrupted when the university drops their group. They are slow to complete trials and gain results, sloppy in their methods, and inaccurate too. Egon stresses that the private sector will be difficult, as people don't believe in paranormal occurrences. Without any money to their name, Ray makes a questionable financial decision and remortgages his house for a 19% loan, then uses this money to rent a rundown abandoned fire station and hire a new receptionist, Janine Melnitz, who has a liking for Egon. They run new ad campaigns for the business, naming it Ghostbusters, as Dana Barrett, a musician, gets back and runs into Lois Tully, her neighbor who is really into her, but she isn't, and blows him off. Later that day, paranormal occurrences start to occur. Her eggs start to crack and cook on the counter, and her fridge warps into a different dimension, and a demon talks of Zool. As you would, she visits the new Ghostbuster business. Peter, the nice guy he is, decides to check it out for free. He finds no activity and tries to spit some game, but is too shut down. They get their first official clients, using their radioactive lasers to capture the Slimer and get paid. They start capturing more and more paranormal spirits, getting featured on the newspapers and regulars on the radio. They become more prominent figures in the space, even hiring a new employee, Winston Zeddemore. They teach him about their traps and the containment they use to hold all of the evil spirits. If it were to turn off, the entire city would erupt into chaos. They get a visit from the EPA to check for environmental causes of the ghost-busting business, but Peter, on wanting them to snoop around in their business, turns them away. Peck warns him that when he gets a court order, he will rip the place apart. They carry on as Peter runs into Dana, taking her away from the violinist, explaining that Zool and the devil they worship is Gozer, inviting her out on a date to go over more of the details on how to handle Zool properly. But that very night, she is possessed, and the gatekeeper takes control of her body. She is now looking for the Keymaster. In another part of town, Lewis is also possessed. His name is now the Keymaster. Peter arrives to find that Dana is possessed and tries to keep her in the apartment, as the police drop off Lewis for them, scared that he is acting strange. They realize the coincidence and decide against joining the Key with the gate, but Peck gets to their doors with the court order, mandating them to shut off their power, and two shutting off the generator holding the spirits. Forced to do this, the entire building explodes as spirits fly across town back to where they were. The Ghostbusters are arrested for this disaster and for public safety. In the meantime, Lewis escapes and meets up with Dana, extending the key with the gate and forming into Zool's. They are called in by the mayor, giving their proposal that they can help turn this disaster back and win him the votes he needs for his next campaign. They are released with a police escort as they enter the hotel building to save the day, running up the flight of stairs to meet Zool's and Gozer, the ruler. They make quick work of her with their quadruple laser power, but a voice calls from above to let them know that something they think of will destroy them, and Ray accidentally thinks of the Marshmallow Man. They enact their duties and destroy their childhood favorite candy, saving the city and its people. The stones of the Zools crack to reveal Dana and Lewis still alive. Peter carries her out as he gets a kiss for rescuing her as they drive off in their Ghostbuster car. 5 years pass just as quick. Newly divorced to the violinist and carrying their child, he is lifted away by a maleficent force. She manages to retrieve him just before he is hit. Winston and Ray are the only ones left of the Ghostbusters, showing up at kids' birthday parties as all the devious spirits have been whisked away. Egon is working at a new testing facility with couples when he is contacted by Dana about the aberration and makes him promise not to tell Peter as their breakup was messy. With the help of Ray, they start investigating, but Venkman sniffs them out and tortures the information out of him as he helps out as they check out her apartment for any scent of abnormal ghost activity. They find none of such, just some memories to reminisce. So they check the scene of the incident, finding a high concentration of abnormal activity underground. They pose as construction workers and dig a massive pothole for Ray to investigate under the city. He finds a slime-like material and collects it. As such, the city shuts down due to the electrical tampering underground, and they are arrested for this. They skip to the court date as they present all their equipment and their slime as evidence. Even worse, they have Lewis, an accountant, as their lawyer. They obviously lose, and as sentencing commences, Judge Wexler starts screaming at them, consequently making the slime convulse and explode as ghosts appear to haunt them. He exonerates them and forces them to clean up the ghost problem. They make quick work of the criminals and are set free. Jack Hardemeyer, as the mayor's assistant, angered by this verdict, tries to stop their tomfoolery. They start to gain traction over this case and begin ghost busting again, even hiring Melnitz as their receptionist. They experiment with the slime, finding out that it reacts with characteristics, like if they scream at it, it convulses with with anger, whilst if they play pop music, it dances controlling a toaster. Venkman visits Dana's new workplace, a museum where they restore art, meeting her manager, Dr. Janos Perha, and she warns him about an eerie feeling on the painting of Vigo. And that fateful night, they are harassed by a slime when Dana tries to shower the baby. She rushes over to Peter, requesting aid, and he abides to let her stay as long as she wants, sending the team over to check out her place. They investigate the museum once more and take photos of the Vigo painting, discovering later that the photo has the canals of slime from under the city. As they discover this, the place bursts into flames, burning the photos, but in the nick of time, Winston breaks in and extinguishes all of them. They report this to Peter, and he advises her not to go back to the museum, as they set up a date, whilst the others go to check out the slime in the canals, being pulled in and experiencing a rush of anger. Egon quickly realizes that the slime exemplifies their emotions in that moment, and they rush over to the restaurant to tell Venkman about their discovery, as they are all arrested for trespassing and harassment. They try to speak with the mayor, but he too pushes them away. Jack Hardemeyer strikes them and places them into a mental ward, now not protected by the mayor. Also, Lewis has been hitting it off with Melnitz, a little too much. Paranormal activity starts to skyrocket through the city. Even Dana's baby is kidnapped. For ritual adjournments, wanted Vigo to possess the body and come back to life as a god, and he promises to make the wish. His wish was to make Dana his wife. To stop this, the mayor calls for the Ghostbusters, and finding out about Jack's scheme, he is fired. They are rushed to the scene, but their guns have no effect on the slime covering the building. Their last resort is to use the slime blower to control the Statue of Liberty with slime, making it crush into the building, blasting away Vigo and Janos. They emerge victorious, winning back Dana and the city, celebrating in a festival. We jump to Ghostbusters Afterlife, because Ghostbusters 2016 reboots the entire franchise. Decades into the future, single mother Callie and her kids, Phoebe and Trevor, are evicted. Luckily or not, their grandfather had just died and left them a plot of land with an old rusty house and some sheds. Their first run to purchase food, Trevor spots a girl he likes, Lucky, so he tries to apply to work at the same fast food spot. They check out the house and get a taste of the new jitters from the earthquake, but they are forced to stay because of their financial situation. The next day, Callie drops off Phoebe for summer school, inadvertently meeting Mr. Gary Gruberson, the summer school teacher, and in class, Phoebe learns that he is a seismologist that detects that the jitters aren't from earthquakes because of the different P and S waves that form. They get their first paranormal occurrence when Trevor is invited up to the mountains, and they spot a mist muttering the word Gozer. Phoebe makes a friend, Podcast, who runs a podcast, and he shows her the ancient scripture carved into the mountain walls. She discovers a trap, and with Gary they open it, releasing a ghost. Phoebe also plays a magical chess with a ghost. She then stumbles into one of the sheds and fixes her grandfather's machine, or proton pack, testing it out on cans with Podcast as they go ghost hunting, running into Trevor, who had fixed the Ghostbusters car, and gives them a ride along. As expected, she destroys half the town with the proton pack, and they are all arrested. Meanwhile, Gary had asked Callie out on a date, and they were rudely interrupted when they were called to post bail, and the police confiscate their equipment. Callie lectures them at home, where they find out that their grandfather was Egon Spengler. Gary leaves this awkward night to grab groceries, but spots a mini marshmallow man and Zool, who possesses him. The night comes to a close when Callie takes the fireman pole down to the wall of photos of everything he had missed in Callie's life, as he had been stuck in the small random town trying to defend it from an invasion. Substantiated by when Phoebe calls Ray, explaining that Venkman is now a teacher, Winston is in the finance sector, and he still owns the bookshop. Egon kept rambling about the invasion in the random town, and they never believed him. They trek into the mountains, trying to capture the ghost, but run into the contraption that stops the invasion by detecting paranormal activity. In the reckoning of the night, Callie is possessed, and in Gary's body, the Keymaster destroys the contraption, as the key and gate meet, forming the Zools. They break into the county and get their proton pack back, tracking down Gozer. They are able to free Callie, using the traps as they flee to the farm, where Egon has set up a trap for Gozer, who shows up on time. But one proton pack isn't enough, and they are disposed of, as the other ghost of Zool possesses Lucky. But just in time, Ray, Peter, and Winston show up to save the day, and Egon's ghost comes back to help Phoebe, as they use the traps to collect all the ghosts including Gozer, freeing Gary and Lucky. And life moves on, and this is where the story ends. Make sure to subscribe for more, and for more adventure series, watch this.